Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Postgame Podcast. The Hawks lose 4-1 to the Minnesota Wild up in one of the Twin Cities. Is it St. Paul? I forget. St. Paul. All right, there you go.
Right next door to Tom Reed's Hockey Bar.
That's it. Get yourself a Rash Burger from Tom Reed. Good stuff. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button on the YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, we love you. We thank you. You're old school. Make sure you are subscribed and following on your favorite podcast app. And please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That would be wonderful. What was not wonderful was this game. You remember, guys, when the Hawks had that power play and it was really awesome? And Mario, you rolled off the numbers for me, and I took them down here. They had one power play, 3:48 into the first, 10 shot attempts, 6 shots, 8 scoring chances, 4 high danger chances. And that was about it for the game, everybody. Good night.
That was their best offensive period of play for the entire game. And it was a full 2-minute zone time power play. Just chance after chance after chance, and they couldn't get it to work. And that was literally it.
Well, the second best thing about that power play, besides, how good it looked, they didn't have to use the slingshot because it never left the zone.
Yeah,
that's one way to never use the slingshot pass. And part of the reason the puck never left the zone, Seth Jones.
Yep.
I mean,
4 or 5 times?
At least
kept the play alive?
At least 3, might have been 4.
Yeah, that's the reason why he needs to be there instead of Kevin Korchinski. They did everything but score. But then the power play did score eventually. I mean, the game was already over at that point. But still, hey, it looks good on the stat sheet.
Yeah, well, got a couple things for you to do. We are going to give you our Who's Your Hawk winners towards the end of the show. But in the meantime, you've got to vote for the game's 4th star. The 3-star of the game, 3 stars of the game, all went to the Wild. 28 saves out of 29 shots for Marc-Andre Fleury, 2 goals for Marco Rossi, and a goal and 2 assists for Mats Zuccarello. 4-star nominees are Connor Bedard, who had an assist, 19 minutes on the dot of ice time, 3 shots, 6 shot attempts, and he extends that rookie point streak to 9 games on the road. The rookie road game of point streak is 9 games. So that's still going. Taylor Radish, a goal, 4 shots, 5 shot attempts, and 17-18 of ice time. And Louis Crevier, here are my notes, NHL debut, not a steaming poo-poo pile, 15-59.
Congratulations.
1 shot, 3 shot attempts, 2 hits,
low,
and a block shot. So there they are. Make sure you get that vote in, and we'll reveal the winner at the end.
Yep.
So we talked about this in the pregame, and I know we don't get the same volume pregame as we do postgame, but some of these veteran defensemen are a problem. Connor Murphy and Jared Tenorti were on the ice for 3 of the 4 goals against today.
The first 3.
Connor Murphy is supposed to be the guy that is your security blanket. He's the guy you're supposed to be able to put out there and have him not hurt the team.
Yeah.
This game and this season, he has been pretty much the opposite of that. He has been the gasoline on the fire, not the blanket that puts the fire out. Jared Tenorti, not very good in this game either. Here's the thing, and John Scott talked about it during intermission. The defensive structure on this team is real bad. Like, think back to when you're watching the Hawks play, right? And you see them have the puck in the zone for the few minutes a game they do. And they try to get a pass to across the ice a little bit or from, the wing to the point. And it seems like all those passes are intercepted, or they hit a stick or they hit a leg. That's because the team defending the Hawks are in the proper lanes. They're in the proper spot. They're playing the structure of the defense. That is not talent. That is understanding a basic defensive structure, which was what the Blackhawks play. There's nothing complicated about what the Hawks' defensive structure is. It's not Jeremy Colleton, where he has people chasing people all over the ice and no one knows where to go. Mm-hmm. It is to compare it to football, it is a zone-style defense where you're responsible for an area. And night after night after night, they fail in the structure all the time. I wrote about it last week. Ben Pope wrote about it last week. How many backdoor goals is this team going to give up before they fix it?
It's execution. I mean, basically, the style of defense they're trying to play is you have this box on the ice. Mm-hmm. When a guy comes into your box, get your body on him. When the guy leaves that box, wait for the next guy to come.
Yeah.
Connor Murphy has been in this league way too long and has been an effective defenseman way too long to let that backdoor play happen. No awareness on the ice on that goal. Zero. Was moving over to cover a guy Jared Tenorti already had covered, and the guy behind him wide open for a pass. And that's a play that has happened again
over and over.
Every game, the teams just continuously try that. Why? Because it freaking works.
It works. It's works. Money. It's like a money going NHL 24.
I mean, if it's Louis Crevier blowing the coverage on that in his first NHL game, you go, okay, that's something you sit him down in the video. It's Connor Murphy cannot fall asleep on the ice in that kind of play. It's one thing if it's the rookies that make that play over and over again, but when it's your defensemen that have played hundreds of NHL games continuously letting that play happen, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mario, you play NHL 24 too. If it worked that often in the video game, they would have patched it by now.
Yeah.
They would have said, oh, boy, that backdoor pass is broken. That's a glitch. We better repair that to make the game playable.
It's OP, as the kids say.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, the book is clearly out on how to beat the Blackhawks when the opponent is able to sustain zone time, and it's to cycle the puck, someone be at the back post, and it'll eventually be open. And more often than not, if you're not scoring, you're at least getting a quality chance that will create some chaos in front of the net, maybe a bang and a rebound, or it forces a rebound into the corner and you sustain the play again, try it again in another couple of passes. So, I mean, yeah, the X's and O's of this team are simple, offensively and defensively. And sure, you got guys on this team that are hurt, guys that aren't around that theoretically would make the team better. But you have to do with what lineup you're given, and you put your big boy pants on and execute the very simple game plan. The defensive structure is simplified. The offensive structure is simplified. It's just coming down to executing it. And yesterday, it was you had a strong goaltender performance in Connor Hellebuck. The effort was there. The execution wasn't. Today, Marc-Andre Fleury remembers, hey, it's early in the season and I can play well, plays well, and you don't have the execution to get anything working. And this Minnesota Wild team, like, they should be better than their record is, and we talked about it during the game. Like, this is a team that should be better than their record is. Another example of a team needing to kind of work out some cobwebs, get right. Blackhawks are in town. It's a good, nice, relieving game for the Wild. They got a lot of good things happened for them. Good for them. Good for them. You had the Blackhawks on your schedule. Way to go.
Well, they've won 4 in a row since they've made the coaching change. So apparently Dean Evason.
Yeah, Dean Evason. What a bum.
He apparently was just a pud whack, and they had to get him
out of
there.
Watching Dean, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, please don't kill me.
You're very intimidating.
He does have that serial killer look in his eyes.
But even with this win, the Wild have one more win than the Hawks.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not a team. If it's Vegas, if it's Colorado, if it's one of Edmonton, what we imagine Edmonton to be anyway. One of these highly skilled teams clowning them around and abusing them for 60 minutes. Right. Okay, like that Colorado loss, we're all like, all right, that's
what's supposed
to look like. This is allegedly one of the teams that the Hawks should be able to hang with. And every time we say that,
we need to stop. We got to stop.
I know there are no teams.
They can't hang with anybody.
There are no teams that they.
We need to stop putting false expectations on this.
I agree with you
because they can't hang with anybody.
In a few hours, they may be based on points last in the NHL.
And hey,
on their own.
I mean, another top 3 pick. That's what they need.
Sure,
I'm ready. That's fine.
But what's frustrating about it is we knew that was going to be the outcome this year anyway, right? We knew that they were going to be a lottery team. We knew, like, at best, maybe they're the 5th worst team in the league. But it's the way it's happening. Mm-hmm. And again, we go back to last season where the plan was to lose. They were going to be as bad as possible. And at least they were in games. At least they showed up. At least, like, the fight was there probably 75 of the 82 games. You felt like, all right, that was just talent. That's not the case here.
There's games where they blew leads, but at least they got out to them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, and it's a different team here as the way the team was built from opening day with Taylor Hall and Corey Perry and Andrea Athanasiou.
Yeah, they lost all their
They
depth.
lost a lot of depth.
And they lost guys that they brought in here to fill very important roles before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, and at that point, you're just like, all right, well, I mean, I don't know what Kyle Davidson's not going to go out and try and get other guys because nobody's trading at this point.
He got Pavillier, which is like
sure,
he had to do something
because it's something.
Right. But he's not going to go and try and get superstar guys. He got Pavillier because the price was cheap.
Right.
Vancouver was looking to shed salary. It cost you a 5th-round pick that you've been traded 8 times already, and was traded again 2 days later. Like, it's fine. Like, that's a decent move. But I mean, he's not going to go out and say, well, okay. This season's going probably how he wants it to. Connor Bedard looks really good. And you're still going to be a top 3 pick come the draft. Like, hey, the Blackhawks got Jonathan Toews first, 3rd overall, and Kane 1st overall in back-to-back drafts. We're headed there again.
So here, you're right. And I'm trying not to be like too reactionary after a loss, and it's hard to do. But I think with Bedard here, there comes a point where, like, you can be patient to an extent and you can, say, hey, this is another rebuild year. But game after game like this pound up, and I'm not worried it's not going to stunt his development, but I just don't want him to be unhappy here. I don't want him to feel like the organization has failed him. So next year, there needs to be a big move for the present and future made. And we have all year, all summer to talk about this, but, like, they need to be a major player salute and a major free agent salute next summer, and at least a guy or two, because you can't keep putting, and it's not just Bedard. You can't have Korchinski out there and Vlasic out there and all these young players that matter just getting their dicks kicked in game after game after game and getting frustrated and doubting themselves and getting used to losing. It's like Shorzy says on Shorzy. They don't hate to lose. And eventually you get used to losing. And that becomes a problem. Like, I'm not saying go abandon the plan now and go trade for William Nylander or Mitch Marner. I mean, it'd be great if they could. Nylander. But, like, I'm not saying screw the rebuild and go try to get all the pieces you can today. I'm not saying that. But there has to be something a little more proactive than, let's see what scrap heap guys we can find to slap a Band-Aid on this thing for a couple of years. Because the idea of Taylor Hall is great. Taylor Hall's not here. Right? Like, and the idea of Nick Foligno is great, but Nick Foligno is 35. And I love him as a leader and a locker room presence, but he's not a guy who's going to put any offense in for you. Corey Perry is gone. So all these things that seem like great things in the beginning of the season, you got one guy left who's 35 and was never much of a huge scorer anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to a degree on that. Like, I'm not worried about Connor Bedard like all of a sudden being like, well, I guess I'm never going to win in this league because his first 22 games in the NHL on a bad team were bad.
Right.
I also don't want them to do what the Edmonton Oilers did with Connor McDavid. How's that worked for them? Like, they pretty much were like, we got Connor McDavid, rebuild over. Yeah. Let's bring in all these guys, but yet let's never develop a goalie. Let's never develop a defenseman. Like, I mean, this is exactly maybe a little below where we thought they'd be, but It is what it is. You've lost so much depth. Luke Richardson literally said in a post-game show, one of the post-game scrum, after one of the few wins this year, was like, man, the biggest difference between last year and this year is we actually have some depth. And then within like a week, it was all gone.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough NHL-ready talent in Rockford ready to come up yet. And I know we hear people like, oh, bring up Colton Dach. No. He's doing really good in Rockford. Let him do really good in Rockford. There's nothing to save here.
Yeah.
There was no expectation to ever make a playoff run here. Yes, losing sucks. Getting your ass handed to you by the Minnesota Wild, here's your ass. Sucks. Look at these Corsi for percentages. This shows you how bad it was today. The best line was the Dickinson and Whistle Joey Anderson line. They had a Corsi for percentage of 75%. 9 shots for against 3 shots attempts against in almost 6 minutes, 5-on-5. Ready for this? The Ryan Donato, Boris Kachuk, Reese Johnson line in 4:21 of 5-on-5 ice time. 1 shot attempt for 7 against.
And how much? 4 minutes?
4:21.
You have a 7 shot
a
at
12.5 Corsi. That's not even the worst line. Hold on. But wait, there's more. The Connor Bedard, Nick Foligno, Philip Kurashev line in 8:10 of 5-on-5 ice time. 2 shot attempts for 12 against for a 14.29 Corsi for. And that's not even the worst one. Tyler Johnson, Cole Gutman, Taylor Radish, 5:22 of 5-on-5 ice time. 1 shot attempt for 10 against for a 909 Corsi for percentage. I don't remember seeing a line with a below 10% Corsi for that played 5.5 minutes. That's why you've got guys, they just, once the puck is in the zone, it stays in the zone. Nobody goes and gets it. And then the second they get it, they pass it to nobody, and it goes right back in. It's a bad hockey team.
Dude, Chris Vosters pointed out that the Hawks were losing board battles today.
Yeah.
That's the happiest guy on earth. That's the human equivalent of Disneyland. If he points out that the Hawks are losing board battles, you got a problem, man. Like that's it. Like it's, and look, if today's roster was the opening night roster, you'd say this team's going 0-82.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just a reality. This roster is horrible.
And beginning of the season, before the season started, I said, well, if everything goes right, this team could get 70 points. 11-point improvement from last season. Like we all said, Taylor Hall's here. If he performs up to his ability.
If he's a 65-point guy
if the goaltending is really good and
goaltending was league average.
But nothing has gone right. Outside of Connor Bedard, nothing has gone right. Jason Dickinson's been nice. Philip Kurashev has had some nice stretches here. But nothing has gone right. So they're not going to get 70 points this year. They may not get 59 points that they had last year. They may not hit that. But this was also the point of year. You remember last year. Remember how bad November was last year?
Oh, I do.
And December wasn't much better. So this is a team that's not talented, full of young players in very important positions. It's going to struggle. And, you know, it's not far from what we expected. And, you know, maybe, you know, once Beauvillier is here and can actually play here, hopefully that starts Tuesday.
It'd be nice.
You know, you get Andreas Athanasiou back maybe at some point. I know he's not the greatest NHL player.
It's going to help, though.
But he's an NHL player.
Yeah.
He's got speed.
This team has, like,
right,
none of it outside.
That's part of the reason why they lose so many puck battles, because the other team is always first to the puck because they're faster.
That's it.
So get some speed. But Villier's got speed. Athanasiou's got speed. That's going to make it less shitty. It's still going to be shitty, but it's going to be less shitty. And that's pretty much all we have to look forward to right now is less shitty hockey.
Yep.
Yeah, I just, you know, you have the injuries. You lose Hall. You lose Athanasiou for however long. Perry's gone now. Like, you have to have the mentality of like, all right, next man up. Who's gonna take their opportunity and run with it? And we talked about it in the pregame. Like, Reichel has not taken his opportunity and ran with it to start the season in a top 6 role. Jason Dickinson has stepped up at times, which is nice to see. But, other than that, we haven't really had anybody to come in and outperform their expectations. And when you have a bunch of guys just at or below expectations, and the expectations were already really low, this is just what you got. This is the result that you're going to get. 3 straight games, 1 goal in each game. None of them scored with Connor Bedard not on the ice. Yep. I get the injuries and not having those guys around. It stinks, but man, somebody has to have a sustained effort to step up and play above expectations. Connor Murphy is playing way below expectations. Seth Jones, he's doing a lot of the small things in his game that make a difference. He's not doing the big things. He's not shutting guys down. He's not creating a ton of offense. He's got 0 goals through 23 games. I am behind him in the small differences he makes in the games, but for the money he's making, he's got to start making bigger differences. And I'm just looking for some of these players to step up, and someone has to grab this team by the collar and shake them and say, look, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. There's been times where, you've been on, we've all played on competitive teams before, and obviously not at the professional level, but there's always a time where you kind of have to go around the locker room and look around and say, who's gonna do it? Who's gonna step up? Who's gonna be the person tonight? And it can't always be Connor Bedard. Yeah. Even though it pretty much is, it can't. And Tyler Johnson gets an assist on the goal. Nice. He's been widely invisible most of the season. Taylor Radish got the goal because he was, in the crease and it bounced off of him. Wonderful. Yeah. Use this as a springboard for more of that. I don't know. It is getting frustrating given the expectations that we had for this team compared to last year. And I don't know if it was just last year's team. Everyone knew that they were going to be dog shit, and so they were trying to outperform dog shit. And this year, I know we all expected them to be bad, but maybe not as bad as last year. And maybe that is I don't know. I don't want to say that they're complacent in not being dog shit, but I don't know. I'm far be it for me to again challenge a professional player or professional teams give a fuck, but someone's got to step up and give a fuck.
Well, how many times have we said coming after a loss where they get just slaughtered 7-1 or whatever, that they walked into the game thinking they were going to win?
Right.
We've seen that a lot this year, and I don't think it happened a single time last year. Right? There was no assumed victory for them.
No, and they knew that. And you're on game 2 of back-to-backs against a team that's better than you after you had a tough loss the day before. It's another afternoon start, so it's a not normal, flow of the day for these guys that are creatures of habit and stuff. I wish the NHL would stop giving the Blackhawks afternoon games because it fucks up my day. I'm sure it fucks up their days too. And I don't know. It's getting frustrating that even for a team that was expected to be bad and expected to be in a lottery, it just doesn't seem like, besides Bedard, I don't see anybody that is out there trying to individually make something happen. Have a desire to be you know what, I'm gonna go and do it. And you guys were at the Michigan Notre Dame game on Friday, and you were saying Frank Nazar had a tough game, but when the game was kind of already out of reach, he just took it upon himself to start playing more not to say he's a selfish player, but he started to do more things individually to try and get something to happen. I think this Blackhawks team needs some players that are just going to be you know what, if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. And it can't always be Connor Bedard. But if if he's the one doing it, wonderful, but someone's got to go along with him. And for a very young 18-year-old to have to continuously drag this team around, that should be a kick in the ass to some of these veterans. Why is an 18-year-old dragging us around? We should be the one having him jump on our backs to lift him higher, not the other way around.
Well, this, like when you're a less talented team, just go out there and start bullying people around. Like I said, you had 13-footed defensemen on there today. Like, finish a check hard. Yeah. Put a guy into the glass. Put a guy over the bench. Like, I know it sounds meatballish, but like that's the sort of shit that ramps up a game. It would get you going.
You've got to catch a guy to hit him, and
you
got to be in you got to be in the right position to hit a guy. Like when you're chasing the puck.
But there are several opportunities per game.
You also can't be down 4-1 and then try and get in someone's face, because the guy that you're getting in their face of is like, I'm not going to fight you. Why would
I'm not saying fight. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you have an opportunity during the course of a game to either nudge a guy like this or finish an effing check on him, finish a check on him. Make them hesitant to go into a corner every now and again. Everybody in green and yellow today was blitzing into the corners because they knew there'd be no consequence. They would come out with the puck, and they would put the back door, and there'd be a good scoring chance or a goal. Yeah. There was no fight. And I'm not saying drop the gloves and beat people up. I'm saying make it difficult for the other team. And damn it, like, play for each other. Play for each other. Like, again, using the college hockey analogy, the games are sloppy. They're slow. It's college hockey, but those dudes have each other's back. I don't see that on this team. I don't see any unity. I see Nick Foligno screaming to the heavens after every game, someone do something. Someone step up. Someone else be a leader besides me and number 98. Anybody. Mm-hmm. Anybody come up and make it a habit to play hard. I should throw Jason Dickinson in there too, because he plays hard every game. But it's like, my God, there has to be a little bit. You used the word, like, to give an F meter. It's at 0 right now, aside from a couple of guys.
Yeah,
it's sure guys are going to end the game with decent stats. Like, oh, he had 4 shots and he had a block shot because a shot hit him, and someone has to get shots when they're on the ice. But in terms of guys going out on the ice and making a difference, there's no one. And there's people in the chat, like, I see Lee saying Anthony Mantha. Jonathan Huberdeau. These guys have the same problem on other teams that we're talking about.
Is Taylor Radish.
You're creating the same problem. You're just throwing out names.
Okay, this guy played in the NHL, so let's put him.
It's not just someone else's shit is still going to be shit here. It's about a mindset. It's a mindset thing, and there's people asking in the chat, is it about coaching? And I always say I like Luke Richardson, and I don't just mean that personally. The way he explains the game, the way he explains why he does things the way he does, they make sense. We see every practice they have, and everything they're doing during practice makes sense based on the talent they have, the roster they have, the structure they use, and then the game starts, and these guys, especially the veterans, lose all structure and lose all system. So at some point, you kind of have to question the coaching staff, because if the message isn't getting through, whose job is it to deliver that?
Yeah.
It's on the players to execute, but if you've got the same thing, 25 games into the year now, whatever it might be,
23, yeah.
You've had the same issues from game 1 to now, and they're not changing and they're not improving. Sure, you might eke out a win against the Kraken now and again, a game you probably didn't deserve to win, but you won it anyway. There has to be some kind of, you've got to see improvement. You don't want to see the same mistakes over and over again. We're not seeing any help. We're not seeing any improvement, and we're seeing the same mistakes over and over again.
I'd like to be able to judge Luke Richardson when he has a team that he's expected to do something with.
I agree. Like, when he has talent and expectations, that's when I'll get a little more like, okay, this guy isn't right for it. But yeah, it's disappointing, and you'd hope to see something better. So, it's a lack of talent, it's a lack of execution, and maybe there is a lack of creativity to try something different. Maybe there is a little stubbornness of Luke saying, I just want to play it this way and I'm not going to adapt. Maybe. It's probably a little of all three of those. It's definitely a lack of talent and lack of execution. But, and one thing that, like, drives me nuts, every chat, we get the people that, you got to fire Derek King to make Derek King is not the reason this team can't score goals. Tell me what Derek King does out of practice and why he deserves to be fired. I freaking dare you. Just stop picking names to blame shit on people, all right? Is Derek King a world-class coach? No, but he's the third assistant on this team. He's a man that scored 40 goals at the NHL level twice. He may know a thing or two about shooting the puck and scoring goals. And he's not the reason the Hawks are bad.
Here's why people say
your assistant coach is not the reason your team is bad.
People say it because he's in charge of the offense, air quotes. That means during practice, he stands in the offensive zone and reinforces what the structure is. He's not like taking a guy aside and saying, "Here's how you score a goal." Yeah, it's not how it works. It's like firing a hitting coach in baseball. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, at some point, you know who you should be mad at right now? Everyone in the chat, the players.
Yes, is a lack of.
It's okay to be mad at the players. It's okay to like them personally and criticize their game. Those things can exist simultaneously. Yes.
Taylor Radish, post-game, this is via Ben Pope. We came out to a good start considering the back-to-back, but we kind of let that slide away once they got one. It's something we got to try to be better about. We can't just fall apart when something bad happens to us. That is team mentality. That is team identity. Last season, they had an identity of a hardworking team that was not going to be outworked night in and night out. No matter what the score was, they were still going to continue to play straightforward and stick to the structure, because when you put in those efforts in this structure that the team is trying to run, success will come. And success is not always goals and wins, but sometimes it's just execution and effort. And for a player to be like, they got one goal and we fell apart, I mean, that's the guys on the ice. That's not the coaches behind the bench. It's the guys on the ice that are letting it fall apart and say like, oh fuck, they scored one goal. Well, that's it. Yeah, tough afternoon, guys.
Yeah, Luke's on the bench going like, I don't know, Radish, I guess.
Yeah, right.
On the next shift.
Right. So I mean, it's one of the more shocking things to me this season is that the message from last season has not resonated with the players this season, and outside of, I don't know, 6-7 guys, much of last year's roster is still around, and I don't get it.
I changed the slogan. That's why it was ready to work last year. I don't even know what the slogan is this year.
In us we trust. I think. I don't know. I don't trust them. Yeah. So
I blame CM Punk.
I would like them to get back to working.
Yeah,
the guy's a cancer. CM Punk.
He is.
Yeah, that's true.
Second you bring him in your locker room, it goes to shit, man. When we're going to learn our lesson. Screw you, Phil.
All right, we're way behind on our reads, so I know you've been looking forward to them, so here they are. Check out our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook. They've got tight money line splits and a low model hold. Their games will strive to be a -110 split on the CIRCA Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use -115 or -120 splits. You don't want that. That sucks. CIRCA Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets like futures, golf tournaments, etc., especially compared to the other books. And here's the thing. If you're really good at gambling like Cody and like Sean claims to be, CIRCA Sports does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do not limit winning players. You keep winning, you can keep betting. And they encourage bettors to download and explore all betting apps to explore the best apps available and compare the lines from each sportsbook. And when you do, more often than not, you're going to be very happy with what you see at CIRCA. Their customer service is great with the real people behind the brand, and they resolve issues in a timely fashion. Unlike other books that use chatbots, all aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main CIRCA Sportsbook at CIRCA Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the CIRCA Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for CIRCA events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537 or text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
Hey, do you have an NFL fan in your life that you don't know what to get for the holidays? Do you need the perfect bag for game day? Varsity Coolers will have you set game day and beyond with the best portable cooler and weekender duffel around. It's got a great, unique design. Let's check this bad boy right here. Look at this thing.
Grab that sack for me.
Hey, wait a minute here.
You know.
Oh, what's
here,
that?
I'll get that out of your way for you.
Santa.
Hold that for later. It's got a unique design. The exterior, as you see, all Chicago Bears colors. The bottom gives you this really cool map of the city of Chicago in case you get lost.
Oh, nice.
You can find where you are.
Driving with your bag, like
How do I the banner here? There's got Chicago landmarks, the skyline, Wrigley Field. I don't see the other ballpark on there. Weird. The lining. My favorite part is the lining. Look at this food scene. You can't really see it, but trust me, there's hot dogs and pizza on the inside of this bag.
There better not be ketchup on that dog, my friend.
There's not actual hot dogs, but pictures of hot dogs.
No.
I do not see any. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that hot dog. That might be a chili dog. But anyway.
Chili dog.
Doubles as a cooler, waterproof and double insulated, and also a travel duffel. It fits in your golf cart. Or you could use it as carry-on luggage. It's the perfect Christmas or Hanukkah holiday gift. Whatever holidays you're celebrating this month, give one as a gift. Yeah. 21 teams represented, so they're perfect for any football fan in your life. Built to show up in style to a party or repping around town, can be used as your gym bag. Just wipe down the inside before and after you store food or drinks in it.
That's smart.
It's got everything a football fan, sports fan wants. Head over to varsitycooler.us and use the code CHGO at checkout, and you're going to get 10% off your order. That's varsitycoolers.us.
That is a really cool bag. This is the first time I've handled it. It is super high quality.
It's a very cool bag.
That is nice.
Just don't fumble it.
I hope they get an NHL licensing agreement soon.
That'd be nice.
Sure. You were saying that before the show. You were holding the bag and you were just like, "This is really nice."
Yeah, it is. It is a quality piece of bag.
Quality.
Yeah, it's
good
really
bag.
good. Get one of those.
Piece
They're
of
sweet.
bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another quote here from Luke coming in post game. Tinner, that's Tenorti, was really physical for us tonight. He's working his way back in. It probably wasn't their best first period. That's Murphy and Tenorti. But lots of other things contributed to those goals as well. It's not always just them. And that's true. He's right. But when you look at the blown assignments on that goal, it was Connor Murphy. That is on him. And I know that Luke is not the kind of coach that's going to go out and be like, Connor Murphy sucked today.
Right.
He's never going to do that. He's never going to do it. He's going to say it either in private or find ways to say it subtly, like he kind of did about Reichel, like we need a little bit more. Even Q would do that.
Yeah.
He would never quite call a guy out, but just say, we're looking for more. We need more from this guy or that guy. Or say he was just okay.
I'm sure he's told them not in front of microphones and cameras exactly what he needs out of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's hope they receive the message soon because getting close. It's we're a quarter way through the season. More than that.
Getting close to what? It's over.
That's a
dude.
good point. That's a good point.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Just entertain me. That's all I want. Lose, but entertain me. At least last year
That's
you
it.
entertained me.
And now, I was expecting games this year to be like 6-4. Fine.
Sure.
I can live with that.
At least
fun bad.
At least be
Shit,
close.
put a puck in a net every once
Be
in a
fun
while.
bad. Don't be bad.
Yeah,
Don't be
this is
boring
bad,
bad.
bad.
Be fun bad.
Yeesh. It is bad. All right. What are we looking on our player of the game here, our 4-star? Is it a blowout or is it still close?
It's a blowout. It was a blowout in the beginning of the show.
All right. Was the graphic ready?
The graphic is ready.
All right. Let's fire it up.
Sarah,
Let's
you
do
are
it.
killing it.
I don't want to.
The quicker we go through these, the quicker we can go home.
Yeah.
There have only been 3 one-goal losses this season. Only 3.
At least they're not leading the league in empty net goals allowed again. They got that going for them.
But that was an indicator that games were close.
Right.
That's that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Anyway, 4-star of the game. You guessed it. Connor Bedard picking up an assist and being without a doubt the best Blackhawk on the ice every time he's on the ice.
And that's a good segue to our next segment.
Yeah, let's do.
Fire up the music.
Let's visit Connor's Corner.
There it is. God, I love this song. Always puts me in a good mood.
It really does. I am starting to associate it with losses, though, so we'll see. Bedard finished the game with an assist, 19 minutes on the dot. That's kind of cool. That's pretty rare. 3 shots on goal and 6 shot attempts, and as we said earlier, continuing his rookie road scoring streak. It is now at 9 games. The record is 16, set by Nathan McKinnon, and he turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah. I like this comment from John Rudy Rudy. Just saying some pride from the players on the ice and patience from the fans would be ideal. Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
Sure.
Especially that first part.
Well, I mean, I think people, again, people get it. People understand that this year is not about winning and losing.
Most people, yes.
It's how it looks. It's how they're losing that is annoying and frustrating.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It should not be this every loss.
Well,
and it's how it feels.
I think we have to change our expectations, and maybe it is going to be this from every loss.
I don't know.
So let's expect this every game and then be pleasantly surprised.
You can't. I think if you're going into games expecting to not have a prideful effort, to not have guys engaged in the game, to not have guys going, hard into corners for pucks, to losing one-on-one battles. I mean, that's expecting dog shit every night, and we're not talking about expecting results in goals and victories. We're talking about a team with an actual identity, and I think that's the problem. I keep coming back to that is the problem for me, is that the last couple of games, last couple of losses have just been like wastes of our time, and last year's efforts. Yeah, I mean, you still lost a lot of games, but at least they were efforts where you saw the effort, you saw the guys battling, you saw the players down the lineup making the extra efforts. You saw the guys at the top of the lineup trying to make things happen. Like it's just not there on a consistent basis, and even that not on a consistent basis I could live with if it was more often than we're seeing. Like if half the games this year they were like, you know what, it just comes down to talent. We're not even at that.
And it felt a little bit that way last night. The Winnipeg game.
Sure.
It was a little bit like, all right, like they didn't generate much. The game was kind of a slog.
You have a good goalie. You have a good team.
Yeah.
You got beat. This was a game where it was just like, as soon as they got one, they got two, they got three, game's over. Game's over 15 minutes into the game, you're down 3-0.
And the thing, too, about, like, the first goal, Marco Rossi with, like, just a sick deflection.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do? You've been playing well up to that point. Like, okay, you got a bad bounce. Like, let's go.
By the way, we are going to stop mentioning young, talented players from other teams on the pregame show. Yesterday, Mario and I talked about Cole Perfetti, and he has what? A sick redirection goal.
He had like a
today,
2-point game.
Rossi does the same thing. So whoever the young, talented, up-and-coming guy is on, who do we play Tuesday? Nashville? I don't have any.
Oh, we don't have a pregame
They don't have
show.
any of those.
Our next pregame show is Edmonton on the 12th.
They don't
look out for that Connor McDavid guy.
We're not going to mention Connor McDavid.
we could mention him or not and probably still get...
Yeah,
I was going to say, we don't have to worry about Nashville because they don't have any young up-and-coming players. But, yeah.
Connor McDavid's got that game circled, man. Let's see. How can I become the league's leading scorer again?
We said it a couple of weeks ago when Edmonton was, I think maybe after the Shark Oil Toilet Bowl game.
Yeah.
We said... December 12th, Oilers and Blackhawks. That's the game that they spin it around, and that's going to be the turning point. When the Oilers have the championship DVD, they're going to point to that game and say that's when we figured it out. That's when we turned the corner.
Already figured it out though, because
that's true.
They're only 6 points out of a.
No. That's the narrative. Got to go.
They're already going to be in a playoff spot by the time they get here.
Whatever.
They can't be. American Thanksgiving is past.
They're only 6 points out for the second wild card spot, and a lot of teams that I don't trust are ahead of them.
Well, that'll be the game that they get into the wild card spot.
There you go. That would be the game that galvanizes them.
Yeah, they're kind of the concrete is solidifying. They're not quite galvanized yet, but they're getting there. They're definitely getting there. They're just too good to stay that bad for that long. But anyway, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's frustrating, and I'm looking again like at the post game quotes, and I swear to God, these guys can just start copying and pasting opponent names. Yeah. And it's the same comments after every game.
They can be like us, and like we did last year, where we just said we're just going to repeat the same post-game show and just be like, tonight's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We can start doing that this year now. It's a different a different spiel, but it's the same one every game. They're giving us the same quotes, and we're having the same post-game show.
If your team
only 60 games to go.
If your team identity is these kinds of efforts, man, you got a problem. Got a real problem.
What's crazy about it too, though, is like you think about that, and you mentioned it earlier, Mario, that it's a lot of the same guys that were here last year that we're putting forth. Like you saw, like Taylor Radish is like, I have a chance to show I belong in the NHL.
20-goal season.
He scored today because a puck hit him, but like, where's that been? Where's that fire been? Like, are you telling me that all the fire came from Max Domi? Did it all come from Sam Lafferty and Jake McCabe? I don't think so. Because the guys you brought in here, especially Foligno, and I know, Hall and Perry are gone, but, like, it was like this when they were here. Like, what has changed? And maybe you bring in these young players, and, yeah, like we said in pregame show, that makes people's jobs a little more difficult. The veterans' jobs become a little more detail-oriented. There's less room for error and all those sort of things, but it shouldn't be that big. Because when you look at Vlasic and you look at Phillips and Kaiser and Crevier today and Korchinski, like, they're all doing okay. They all seem to be holding their own all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet Joey Anderson was here last year. Athanasia was here last year. Blackwell was here last year. He hasn't played yet this year. Dickinson was here. Entwistle was here. Gutman, Reese Johnson, Tyler Johnson, Seth Jones, Kachuk, Kurashev, Murphy, Phillips, Radish. All these guys were here last year. You're not taking away it's not like you traded or lost 15 guys from last year's regular lineup and it's a brand new restarted, team. Like, a lot of the guys that were here last year are still sticking around. Vlasic was here. Tenorti, like, I don't know. It's and the team culture, the team mindset, the hardworking culture last year. I don't think it goes out the door with Sam Lafferty and Jake McCabe and Domi and Taze and Kane and Alex Stalock. Like, I don't think those guys leaving completely changes it.
Yeah, and it will.
And if it did, then you have a big problem with the guys that are here.
Sure. Well, let's say that. So I'm like very hesitant to have this conversation, but I'm going to do it because I feel like it's worth having. Like, a couple years ago, was it this summer or 2 summers ago we talked to Vlasic? 2 summers ago.
2 summers.
Yeah.
And he talked about how with Kane and Taves in there, you kind of felt you had to walk on eggshells a little bit. And I think those guys felt, I'm scared to let these guys down. I'm scared to be the one who makes Jonathan Taves or Patrick Kane mad at me. They're not here anymore. Maybe some guys are a little too comfortable. And Nick Foligno, I love his style of leadership. I'm super glad he's here. But I don't think Nick Foligno is the kind of guy that a young player looks at and goes, oh, my God, that's Nick Foligno. There is that with Jonathan Taves, and there is that with Patrick Kane. I'm glad they've moved on. I don't think if either of those guys was here this year, the results would be very different. But I do think maybe now in hindsight, there was something to that. I do not want the wrath of Jonathan Taves or Patrick Kane on me if I make a mistake. Look, we watched Seth Jones' first year. Seth Jones made a play, and on the ice, Patrick Kane turned around and said, what the fuck are you doing? It showed up. It was on a hot mic.
That was last year.
It was last year.
That was opening night in Colorado.
Yeah, like that. There's an expectation with those guys, and they carry a different kind of cachet, and I think especially Taves carries a different kind of cachet than any of the leaders they have here. And, again, I'm glad they've moved on. I'm not saying to bring either of them back. It's not going to happen anyway.
Where's that jar? But
I just wonder if the fear factor being eliminated, be it Taves, I'm not saying that they like threatened people.
No.
But imagine being a young player and saying, I don't want to let those guys down.
The presence changes things, and I think the expectation this season was, hey, like, we want new voices and new leadership to grow. This isn't how you grow it. And Bedard's the one that's going. Sure, is he your next captain next year or the year after? Very, very likely. I'd put a shiny nickel on it. But there's got to be, I don't know if it's accountability. I don't know what this team is missing in the locker room that is causing what seems to be a lack of drive, a lack of consistent motivation. Foligno has talked after games a ton about that exact thing that they need and that they're missing. And yeah, maybe guys aren't taking it to heart. Seth Jones hasn't talked a ton this season after games. Connor Murphy's always there and able. Like I'd like to think that the veterans can be the ones that are holding accountability and taking accountability. But if they're not, it can't all be Connor Bedard. You can't just say, okay, it's his team, 100% his team. It's all on his shoulders.
Yeah.
We're just here for the ride. Like that can't be the case. These guys were brought in to help shoulder the load of that off of Bedard.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to do it, what are you here for?
Well, and Philip
Paycheck?
says every team that has a captain plays with heart. Ask Rick Bonus about last year's Winnipeg Jets. He'll disagree with that. And Mark W. had a good point a few spots up there. Sarah, there it is. It says what I was saying about Taves and Kane. Mark says that implies that the players don't respect Richardson, at least to some extent. I don't think that's the case at all. I think, though, and Luke says this out loud, is he wants the players to police themselves. Mm-hmm. He wants the locker room leaders to be the ones who call out effort, who are to get in a guy for not working hard enough or pick up a teammate when they need picking up. He's more of a hands-off kind of a guy. But if we keep seeing performances like this, he's going to have to get involved. At some point, he's going to have to play the I'm pissed off at you card. And I don't know if it's a back skate. I don't know if it's scratching a veteran for impact. I don't know what it is. But there's got to be something. There's got to be something different.
Well, here's the thing. We can question some of these veterans and their efforts, their desire, their give an F meter, however we want to call it. A lot of these guys, they're not here after this year. Like Tyler Johnson, gone after this year.
Yeah, maybe sooner.
Nick Foligno, UFA at the end of this year. I know they may bring him back just for what he offers. Jason Dickinson, not a guy that is in that conversation, but so many of these guys that we're complaining about, they're not going to be here when this team is good. And yeah, they're not setting great examples, but, you know.
Do they want to stick around in the NHL?
I don't know.
Because if you're not doing it in Chicago, a last place team, where are you going to go?
Yeah, you're getting more all those guys you mentioned are getting more opportunity here than they would get anywhere else in the NHL.
Well, then they're costing themselves, and that's a them problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, I'm not, like, I get, like, the frustration in seeing this every night, but these aren't the guys that we're building this whole thing around.
I get that.
And like, I'm not worried about this season screwing up Connor Bedard or this season screwing up Kevin Korchinski. Where 5 years from now, Bedard, we're like, well, I wish I could be better, but that first year was so bad that it ruined me. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it worked out for Nathan McKinnon and all that.
Like our guy AJ from DNVR.
Yeah, hi AJ, we see you. Sorry, buddy.
He could tell us about that ridiculously, historically bad season the Avalanche had with guys like Nathan McKinnon. Like, that worked out pretty well for those guys. A lot of the pieces that matter aren't here, won't be here for a while. You know, things are going to change around. This is a moving, fluid situation. This is a disappointing season because we did have things to be hoping they were going to be better than last year. But I'm at the point where it's just like, this is what this team is. This team doesn't have an identity. Yes, they do. They're a bad team that doesn't give you an effort. That's their identity right now. That's what it is. That is their identity. That's the identity they have put forth. They can change that. They still have 59, 58, whatever, how many games, too many games left to do that.
Hey, don't say that. The summer's long.
Yeah.
Full of horrors. Horrors, not horrors. Well, maybe.
Could be both. Anyway, this is their identity. This team has no identity. Yes, they do. They're an identity of a team that doesn't win board battles, that doesn't play structured defense, and has no talent. That's their identity. It is what it is. We just have to accept that. They still have time to change it, but that's going to be my expectation from every game going up. And you know what? I'm not going to be disappointed on many nights. I'm only going to be pleasantly surprised.
There you go. I mean, what's the old slogan? When someone shows you who they are, believe them.
This is what they are. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
To quote the late Dennis Green.
Yeah,
you know who else is exactly who we think they are?
This is an awkward segue. You know who else is dead?
No, not dead. Very much alive. And they are exactly who we thought they are. And that's Hero Bread. We thought they were delicious and nutritious.
They'll help you live longer.
And that's exactly what they are. Yeah, they will help you outlive Dennis Green. Too soon?
Is that their slogan?
Too soon? Yes. Live longer than Dennis Green with Hero Bread. I don't even know where to go from there. But Hero Bread.
Just go, baby.
If you need a low carb option to fit your lifestyle or dietary constraints, founder Cole Glass, sounds like a hockey player, baked 100 muffins per day and didn't give a single one to me before he found the perfect blend that fit his allergy constraints. And that's what pushed him to start Hero Bread. I've tried, believe it or not, in past lifetimes to try and eat a little better, try and cut carbs here and there. And I tried with the bread. And like low carb, keto friendly bread, it's not good.
It's the Blackhawks of bread.
It is. It like looks like it might be good, and then when you finally get a little bit, you're like, that's shitty. I don't want any more of that. That's not the case with Hero Bread. Their taste and texture is soft and fluffy, very delicious. They have high fiber, ultra low net carbs, and 0 grams of sugar per slice. They have all kinds of great bread options. You can get the sliced bread, you can get buns, you can get tortillas, whatever sandwich-like meal you want to meet. You want to eat, make, whatever.
Eat or with meat.
Then eat. Hero Bread has you covered. And they have 10% off your first purchase just for dealing with the Blackhawks. Use CHGO at checkout at hero.co, and you're going to get 10% off that first order. So check them out. That's hero.co to save 10% today. We thank them for their sponsorship and their delicious bread products.
And if you're eating Hero Bread to help yourself on your health journey, be sure to check out our friends at the Midtown Athletic Club to boost your health journey, whether it's physical wellness or mental wellness. The Midtown Athletic Club is able to help you in that journey, and they have 4 locations in the Chicagoland area, including in Palatine, Bannockburn, Willowbrook, and their HQ flagship location, the Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. They have tons of options for members, whether you're just an individual working out on your own, or if you're a family with kids, people looking to make different lifestyle changes, if you're looking for holistic wellness, Midtown has an option for you. They have tons of facilities that you can use at your disposal. State-of-the-art gym equipment, anything, any machine, any weight that you would ever want to use for a workout, Midtown Athletic Club has it. Tons of workout theaters for group classes, spin classes, yoga studios for every type of yoga you could ever do. CrossFit training, boxing, tons of stuff. Also, a lot of indoor and outdoor tennis courts and pools. I know the Bannockburn location has a outdoor heated pool that is open through January 3rd, I want to say.
It's when it starts getting cold?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Got it.
So that is really cool. People get a lot of use out of that. Probably the only place in the area that'll keep an outdoor heated pool, has to be heated, outdoor heated pool open that long. Tons of tennis courts, like I said. Basketball courts as well are available. So go to midtown.com/CHGO to find out more about the Midtown Athletic Club location nearest to you, to schedule a tour and check out all of the cool options that they have for your physical and mental health and well-being.
And before we declare the winner, we already know the winner, because the helmet's sitting right there, of Who's Your Hawk. We want to tell you about our friends at FOCO. Get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. It's Ohtani season.
Yes.
Get yourself prepared for his debut at Wrigley. I'm manifesting it next year with an Aloha shirt, a straw hat, a polo, a bag, everything you need for a ball game. Also, if you're going somewhere, like a hockey game or a basketball game, it's cold out, you're going to want sweatshirts and pajama pants and Uggs and all those fun things. All that sort of stuff is available at FOCO, including some of these awesome bobbleheads. They've donated a few of the great stuff we have on our set. Thanks to them. Check them out, FOCO.com, or click the link in our description below. And for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. That is FOCO.com. All right, the winner again. It's getting boring.
Hey, I won the last 2.
You did. I was not here yesterday, so I didn't witness it.
You need to pick up your end of the slack, too. Here,
You're right, I do. Connor Bedard was the best Hawk of the game. Hey, shocking. So, Mario picked Connor Bedard, so he's the winner of Who's Your Hawk. He has 11 wins. Greg and I are tied for 6.
I told Mario.
But I have more regulation wins than you, so I'm.
I love the loser point. I told Mario yesterday it might get to the point where he's so far ahead that you and I might just combine our wins to try and keep up with him.
There you go.
So yeah, that's where we are.
I didn't Galaxy Brain it this time.
So
and I won.
That means
You can pre-make the graphic for next pregame. I am picking Bedard.
All right,
there you go.
I gotta get another win here. It's brutal. Shit. Oh, all right, we're gonna wrap things up. We're going home. It's been a long weekend, man.
I can't wait. Nice off day. I'm not going to do anything hockey related tomorrow. I don't know about you guys.
No, I'm not going to either. We'll be back Tuesday post-game Hawks and Predators. Let's hope they can get back on the winning side of things. Until then, make sure you smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe and all that great stuff. And tell a friend. You've got 48 hours to tell a friend about us so they're here for the next game. We'd appreciate that very, very much. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you Tuesday on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.